Silence does not always mean submission, nor does peace signify a lack of power. Sometimes a person must retreat to conserve their strength. They must wait for the perfect moment to strike, because sometimes it takes a gentle touch to crush an opponent, like a butterfly crushing a beetle under its feet. Liam stood silently in the early morning fog, the rising sun painting the sky with colors of orange and pink. His small stall overflowed with fresh fish, their scales shimmering like scattered jewels. Around him, the city awoke. Peddlers set up stalls, shopkeepers wiped down windows, and citizens hurried about their daily routines. Yet most passed by Liam's stall without a glance, their gazes fixed on the bustling marketplace ahead. Others stopped briefly, their eyes lingering on the oddity that was the young fishmonger. But one figure approached with purpose. Bruno, a troublemaker known for his cruel taunts and petty thefts. He swaggered toward Liam's stall, a smirk playing on his lips. Behind him trailed a motley crew of street urchins, their faces alight with mischief. Well, if it isn't Fish Boy, Bruno sneered, his voice dripping with mockery. Another shipment of smelly fish. Liam's response was a slight tilt of his head, his gaze unwavering. His hands, though calloused and rough, moved with practiced grace as he weighed out a customer's purchase. As Bruno stepped closer, he noticed something glinting in Liam's eyes, a spark that belied his calm demeanor. But Bruno, lost in his own arrogance, failed to recognize its significance. Instead, he shoved past Liam, sending a bucket of fish flopping to the ground. "Watch it, Fish Boy," he jeered. "Or maybe I should call you Clumsy Boy instead." In the old days, General Kaelion might have drawn his legendary blade, Void Fang, and silenced Bruno with a single swift stroke. But here, amidst the cacophony of the marketplace, such a display would be madness. So Liam simply sighed, a sound lost in the din, and continued his work. He retrieved the fallen fish, his movements economical and precise. The onlookers, accustomed to Bruno's antics, paid them little heed, their attention divided between the unfolding drama and the vibrant chaos of the market. Some shook their heads in disapproval, while others exchanged knowing glances, their lips curving into knowing smiles. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets, the taunts grew bolder. Bruno, emboldened by the laughter of his companions, began stealing fish from Liam's store, tossing them into the air and catching them with practiced ease. With each stolen fish, Bruno's grin widened, while Liam's gaze remained fixed, his expression unreadable. When Bruno went too far, a group of women stepped in to stop him, their voices rising in anger. For 5 years, Liam had endured Bruno's taunts, his heart heavy with memories of a past life he desperately wanted to forget. But today, something was different. Today, the icy grip of his past tightened around his heart, mirroring the chill that had crept into his eyes. The sight of these ordinary people standing up to Bruno, however briefly, stirred something within him, a feeling he thought he had buried long ago, a surge of protective instincts. As Bruno pushed past the women, shoving them aside with careless cruelty, he had not expected what happened next. Liam moved, and it was as if the very air around him shifted. In the blink of an eye, Bruno found himself sprawled on the ground, the stolen fish forgotten, his face mere inches from the grime of the cobblestones. The crowd gasped, their murmurs rippling through the marketplace like waves crashing against the shore. All eyes were on Liam, who stood over Bruno with an intensity that sent shivers down their spines. It was as if the gentle, unassuming fish seller had vanished, replaced by someone else, someone who exuded an aura of power and menace that made the hair on the back of their necks stand on end. In a voice that resonated with an otherworldly calm, Liam uttered a single sentence: "You've made a grave mistake." The words hung in the air, each syllable carrying the weight of ages of battles fought and won, of lives touched and ended. They were simple words, yet they echoed with an unspoken threat, a promise of consequences that chilled Bruno to the bone. But Bruno, ever the braggadocious street thug, chose to ignore the warning sign. As he scrambled to his feet, his bravado returned, bolstered by the jeering of his companions. "What are you gonna do, Fish Boy? You scared?" The question hung in the air, dripping with mockery. And for a moment, Liam hesitated. The centuries of battles, the countless strategies, the overwhelming urge to protect the innocent, all threatened to spill over, to erupt in a torrent of controlled fury. But something held him back. Perhaps it was the memory of those he had lost in the war, or the burden of the lives he had taken. Or perhaps it was the knowledge that the true battle lay not in this petty street squabble but within his own heart. Slowly, as if emerging from a deep slumber, General Kaelion re-emerged in Liam's mind, not to reclaim his former glory, but to guide, to protect, to teach. The general was not a warrior, but a strategist, his skills honed through years of planning, maneuvering, and counter. Turning to Bruno, Kaelion's voice echoed through Liam's thoughts, steady and unwavering. "You seek a fight, you shall have it." With a sudden movement that defied his age and unassuming nature, Liam flipped the table holding his fish, sending scales and buckets crashing to the ground. The marketplace erupted in gasps and murmurs, their eyes wide with disbelief. But amidst the commotion, Liam remained focused, his gaze locked onto Bruno, his body poised like a coiled spring ready to unleash its pent-up energy. In an instant, he charged forward, his movements blurring into a whirlwind of motion. The crowd recoiled, instinctively giving way to the force of his advance. Bruno and his companions, caught off guard by this sudden burst of speed, stumbled backward, their bravado evaporating into thin air. Liam closed the distance between them in a heartbeat, appearing before them as if materialized from thin air. Bruno, his face drained of color, tried to flee, but it was too late. A strong arm clamped down on his shoulder, stopping him in his tracks. Bruno found himself face to face with General Kaelion, his youthful features twisted with determination. "Do not move," Kaelion commanded, his voice echoing with authority, "or you will regret it." His grip tightened, sending a jolt of pain through Bruno's body. Bruno struggled, but against the iron-like strength of Kaelion, his efforts were futile. "Let me go, you stupid fish guy," Bruno snarled, struggling against the unbreakable hold. Kaelion ignored the taunt, his focus unwavering. He dragged Bruno back to the center of the crowd where the onlookers watched in stunned silence. "Show them what you truly are," Kaelion commanded, his voice ringing with conviction. "Expose the darkness that lurks beneath your arrogance." As Bruno struggled against Kieran's grasp, the crowd parted, revealing Liam kneeling beside his overturned fish store. His hands moved with a practiced grace, retrieving his tools, his gaze fixed on the task at hand. The crowd watched, mesmerized, as Liam transformed from the meek fish seller into a warrior unlike any they had ever seen. In a matter of moments he had cleaned and scaled the fish, expertly filleting it with swift, precise movements. His hands, though calloused and worn, moved with a precision that belied his years. The onlookers leaned closer, their senses heightened, their breaths catching in their throats. This was more than just a display of knife skills. It was a spectacle of transformation, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. When Liam rose, he held aloft the freshly prepared fish, its pristine flesh gleaming in the sunlight. His eyes, though filled with sadness, shone with a newfound strength. He turned to the crowd, his voice resonating with power and sorrow. "This," he announced, "is why I retreated from the world. To preserve the light within me, I chose to hide from the darkness that threatened to consume me. But the darkness finds a way to seep through the cracks, doesn't it?" His gaze fell on Bruno, whose face was now etched with fear. "Sometimes we must confront the darkness head-on, even when it seems insurmountable, even when the scars run deep. We must do it for ourselves, for our loved ones, for the hope of a better tomorrow." His words hung in the air, penetrating the hearts of the onlookers, stirring emotions they had long buried. In that moment, Liam was no longer just a fish seller. He was a beacon of hope, a warrior of truth, a symbol of resilience. Kaelion released Bruno and the young man stumbled away, his bravado shattered, his eyes filled with remorse. The crowd erupted into cheers, their voices echoing Liam's sentiment, their gazes filled with admiration and respect. They had witnessed not just a display of skill, but a triumph of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope and resilience can prevail.